Yeah, so me and Chase had a stirring conversation the other night about food and health and like how food is created and brought up and stuff. And I came across an article that basically definitely paralleled what we were talking to. So on Tuesday, McDonald's held a turnaround summit in Las Vegas. And one of the main things that they basically told all their franchisees that had gathered was that McDonald's plans to start using chicken raised without antibiotics commonly used in humans and milk from cows that are not treated with artificial growth hormone.
Wow.
It's supposed to be a change that takes place over the next couple of years. Panera Bread and Chipotle are two subsidiaries of McDonald's Corporation that are already kind of using those kinds of
like
chicken raising processes and stuff.
Recently, didn't some Chipotle stores stop stocking beef? I mean, not beef. It was pork. It was pork for the way that they were treated.
Yeah, that's how committed to like their mission they are. Is like they couldn't get the pork raised the way they wanted it, so they haven't had pork in their restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe they were kind of like those companies are almost like laboratories.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at when we were what me and Chase were talking about, basically like how it shouldn't be a problem for people to be able to have access to food that's not chemically altered and that's just not horrible for you. But I think that maybe what I was maybe trying to see the side from is that you get the distribution methods in place. You get ways to get food to people first, even if it's crappy food, and then you build up on the quality after that. And I think that that's kind of like what they're getting to. I think they have a lot of different people from different parts of the company being like, you can see you're going to be seeing a lot more of this as we get to go forward. Consumers are becoming very conscious of everything that they're consuming, and so they want to know what's going into there, and McDonald's has to kind of like step up to the plate. And so I just thought that was really interesting that they're being very proactive about it.
I love this because I think this shows the power of the consumer.
Yeah.
Like it's just becoming unacceptable now for them to continue doing this, and from the pressure of the consumer, they have to change.
Yeah, they've had declining store visits for the last 2 years.
Yeah, in a lot of Scandinavian countries, a lot of the stores there are closing down, so they're struggling a lot in European markets as well. And I think an interesting point you mentioned with the consumers, it's just insane how much of an effect it has nowadays, especially
the consumer.
Yeah, the consumer just being able to communicate. Like any person, even if their IQ is 8, can send out a tweet to millions of people saying anything. So imagine the pressure on the companies for their image. If like one chicken head gets in the nuggets, everyone knows.
Yeah,
everyone knows. So
sure. Now, did it say who was at the conference?
It says franchisees.
Okay.
So people that are going to be heading the local franchises.
Okay, so it was just like a internal thing.
Yeah, it was an internal thing. It wasn't like it was a McDonald's turnaround summit.
So a big point of discussion that we had when we had our conversation was how it costs so much money to almost raise healthier food right now.
I think so, yeah.
And how that's simply because we haven't figured out how to do it in a large scale and efficiently.
Okay.
Do you think that maybe this is a step in like if McDonald's embraces the fact that they need to raise hormone-free, antibiotic-free, or like buy that sort of meat, that in order to sustain their enormous web of chains, that they are going to be the ones who actually pioneer maybe bringing that large-scale production of good, healthy food to a cheap, like
low-cost, healthy. Yeah, I can see that.
Do you think that's too hopeful?
I think that one of two things could happen. I think as McDonald's is pressured to converge with consumer desires, I feel like they could either basically establish, healthier practices that are going to cost them more, and I think that'll come through in the pricing of the food that they have, or they could be a major leader in taking a big step forward in distributing and raising and growing healthy food and getting it to people in a cheap way. Hopefully they can step forward and kind of take that badge upon themselves.
Yeah, I agree with that, just because they're not doing it by choice or out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it out of necessity, And everyone asks GMO free, gluten free, whatnot. That's just the way that it's going right now. And if some of the biggest buyers from the suppliers, the McDonald's, just like all the big chains start doing that, then it's going to trickle down because they're going to figure out ways to cut corners and save money and still achieving the ultimate goal of, letting a cow be a real cow and not a jacked up, hormone freak, So.
Yeah. I mean, Greg, you're a pretty healthy eater, or at least a health conscious person for the most part. Do you have any sort of opinion on the state of food that is like so chemically altered and just that sort of thing?
It kind of just makes me sad because it's kind of the equivalent of looking at water and just like, just pouring sugar in it, just to be able to produce more water. And it's just our culture, we're just shoved, sweets or like things that have no nutrition. No nutritional value.
Right.
And you'll actually get looks from people if half your plate is green.
Yeah.
Instead of just like some kind of fried potato that's cheap and easy to make and filling.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the use of corn syrup as a sweetener, which is, it's so much cheaper as... Well, I mean, seriously, though.
No, his face is...
Yeah, right.
No, it dropped a bit.
Corn syrup has such like an intense sweetness to it that it literally like creates this addictive property to like sweet foods, and it's just so prevalent. But anyway, yeah, we could probably spiral out into a depressing topic.
No, you're talking to the guy that eats like broccoli for breakfast, literally, to get out of the way for the day. So.
Yeah.
Does that affect your farts?
It's a personal question.
Well,
man.
I gotta know.
Sometimes,
farts.
like it's not that bad. The body gets used to it,
I see.
But there's some period. You have to break through the wall.
I see. Because like cauliflower,
Like all of us.
that's a no-no.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a no-go.
Definitely.